money. Woo! We on tour, and we're doing it better than anybody else alive. It's so hard for me to sit back here in this studio looking at a guy out here hollering my name when last year I spent more money on spilled liquor in bars from one side of this world to the other than you made.
Drag your nuts, baby. Breakers Road, Grand Slam exclusive, son. Drag them. Let's go. 101, baby. Let's go.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, woo, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
Tillman Tap and the Nighthawk Knock. Let's go, baby. What up, baby? Let's go. What is up, Grand Slam Nation, son? Bringing the thunder tonight, aren't we, Joe?
Hell yeah.
What up, baby? Happy Easter Sunday, boys and ladies. Dragapalooza coming up Thursday night, baby. Thursday night, and then Friday night we have a split show in the back. We have a trade night in the front. You know what I'm saying? Poker in the front. No, I don't remember that Big Johnson shirt, whatever it said. Anyway, I don't want to say it wrong. Friday night we have that. Saturday we have the local card show down in Nashville. My buddy Jeff Roberts puts it on. Good show. So we'll meet down there, and that'll be the last little thing. But I think y'all will have a blast meeting some people down there. We're working on things as far as like getting you some T-shirts, things like that. There's going to be a lot of local people. Also, like on trade night and Thursday night, we're probably just going to go out somewhere. The bar couldn't get a bartender, so we're going to figure out a room. But anyway, I'll worry about that later. This is what this is about. We'll talk about Dragapalooza probably on Monday. This Hall of Fame induction will be the toughest one I ever do because everybody else so far in the Hall of Fame on our list is alive. But this is somebody that is, he's really close to me. We were like the most odd couple you would ever find. And I'll tell you the story how we met. It's Tim, of course. I mean, when you have your own tap, you dragging fucking nuts, son. And how we met was, he was eccentric. He had taken care of his aunt for many years, like 20 years. But he would go to the Grand Ole Opry. He loved the Grand Ole Opry. He loved Carrie Underwood, Kelsey Ballerini towards the end, Miranda Lambert. I mean, he was passionate about it. He was passionate about the Steelers. Deep down inside, that's kind of why I like the Steelers. There's a couple reasons, but they've grown on me partly because of Tim. He was passionate about that, and he was passionate about the Cincinnati Reds. But how we met was at the local card show. He came up to me, me and Robbie both, rocking his jean jacket and his Carrie Underwood shirt. And I was like, man, this fucking dude's a trip. Actually had sleeves cut out of that motherfucker, just rocking it, dude. I got to remind to tell y'all about the Nike story, too. Nike shoes, boy. And he asked me, he said, do you have a Charlotte Flair autograph? And I was like, no, I don't have a Charlotte Flair autograph. I was like, because at that time, I didn't even fool with wrestling. Well, he comes back the next show, and he's like, hey, man, do you have a Charlotte Flair autograph? And I'm like, no, man. Well, the second time, I kind of paid attention to him, and he was going to every table, and nobody had one. So the third time he comes, he's like, hey, do you have a Charlotte Flair autograph? True story. You can ask Robbie. I'm like, no, man, I don't, but let me hop on eBay. I'm going to buy you one. You be here next show, and I'll have it for you. And he was like, all right. So I literally go on eBay, $20. I buy the car for like $20 plus shipping. And I'm like, I'll tell Robbie, or I don't know if I tell Robbie or not, but I'm like, I'm just going to give this to this dude. This dude is so determined for this card. Let's just give it to him. And Robbie's like, hell yeah, man. So he comes that next show, dude. I mean, early. And he's like, hey, do you have that Charlotte Flair? Do you have a Charlotte Flair? And I hand it to him. And, man, he's like, how much do I owe you? How much do I owe you? And I'm like, no, man, it's free, dude. He's like, he was so blown away. It was like at that moment he was imprinted. Like, me and him were going to be tight, ride or die, no matter what. it's hard to explain Tim. A lot of people didn't understand Tim because he was kind of socially awkward sometimes. But once you got to know him, man, he was one of the best dudes on the planet, literally. So that was how we met. And from that point forward, man, that dude would show up at 5:30 every show and help me set up. And he wasn't doing it to try to get to my card so he could be first like the vultures would, myself included. I'm a vulture at the shows. I got to do what I got to do. He was literally doing it out of kindness, out of friendship. That's it. You can ask anybody there. He always rolled up and he always helped me. And I mean, back then I was carrying heavy cases. I mean, looking back on it, man, he's probably the best thing that ever happened to Grand Slam. There's 2 or 3 people that I believe, if not for them, man, I'd probably be fucking selling real estate right now. I mean, I told Robbie directly, there was times when Tim would come down and buy massive amounts of stuff, and I would tell Robbie, man, if it wasn't for Tim, man, we wouldn't be making it. And so he became a customer. That's how it was. It was before we opened. And essentially, I feel like he's the reason we all know each other. Anybody out there who gets anything positive from this, if you've been in the pit and you've climbed out, or if you just enjoyed, if Gary makes you laugh, I believe personally it's because of him. If not for him, I'd be miserable selling homes, to people in their most stressful time of their lives. It's just not for me, man. I want to have fun. I want to do what I love, and Tim is the foundation of that. Period. Robbie knows that. Most people who pay attention know that. So it is what it is. His picture hangs in the store. If anybody's coming down for Dragapalooza, his picture rocking the jean jacket, hitting a Brett Favre 101 that we still have, autographed out of Prism. Probably the happiest I've ever seen him was hit that card. He was the luckiest dude I ever met. He's holding that card. It's next to the Ric Flair picture. Up there, up above where the wax is, right next to the honey buns. He would have loved that Ric Flair autograph signing so much. He would be an employee here right now. That's what he would be doing. He would be kicked back in the back, bossing Rookie around or some shit. He wouldn't do it. He would love Rookie. So, but he would be working with us. Absolutely no doubt he needed a job at the end, and man, he would have earned it. So he would have been rocking with us every night. He'd have been probably the funniest dude on the show. It just is what it is. The only thing out of all of this is that I regret that most of y'all didn't get to meet him. And even the people at the show, they didn't know him. They just knew he bought a lot of stuff, and they wanted to meet him because he was the best of the best locally. He was the Andrew Winters of the Middle Tennessee card shows. So, something else that I thought about him was there's certain people in here that are going to be in here that they're essentially, in my opinion, they're just Hall of Famers in the game of life, not just some little rinky-dink card shop. And what it was is, like, he really did put your wants in front of his. I can remember one time there was this Deca booklet at the show, and it was a 10-way auto that I had agreed to buy it from the guy. Literally agreed to buy it. Well, Tim comes walking over with it. He's like, look what I bought. And I'm like, what the fuck? How'd that dude do that? We had a deal. And if we lock up, it looks like it's red. So let me know. I'll go live. I'll go regular style. Anyway, when he realized that, he literally sold it to me for what he bought it for. Actually, he took trade for it. He took trade for it. So I ended up getting the card better than I was the amount I agreed to. I mean, what type of friend does that? I really only have one other than him that would have done that or would do something like that for me. It just is what it is, but here locally anyway. He never had a bad day, ever. If me and Robbie were having a bad day, he made us, I mean, dude, you would leave the hanging out session feeling better than you did when you came in. And I just feel like that's one of those things. That's why I miss him so much. He just wasn't like the average person. It was unbelievable what he did for us. He always pumped so much positivity into the store. When people would come in, he would cheer for them to do well. He wouldn't be, gritting his teeth behind them when they hit something well. It was something that, looking back on it, unfortunately, looking back on it, you realize, he's helped me realize who's important to me in this industry and in this world. And I wish that I could tell him that, because dude, he was the real deal. And it is what it is. So when the store was empty, there was a time, I know I've told y'all this story, that Gary, when I was out of town, sold $1.10. He sold a fucking $1.10 in our store. Little store. I'm scared to death. But that was because Tim wasn't there, because I was on vacation. We might sell $1.10 one day, but the next day when I came back and Tim rolled up in there, he would drop 2 G's, 3 G's. And it was just because he literally had a passion for sports cars. All you guys out there that have a passion for it, and it's not about the money, Tim was literally the blueprint for that. He didn't give 2 shits what it cost. If he wanted it, he bought it. So you whenever you're like scared for your life, you think you've made a mistake, or you're scared for your family. Like, did I make a mistake for my family? Am I going to be an embarrassment? Did I fail? And somebody shows up for you, you don't forget it, or I don't. So I remember those times, and if it hadn't been for him, we probably wouldn't have made it. I mean, it's just that simple. So I have a lot of appreciation for people like that, because they're not as easy to find as you think. The thing that you realize when you make a climb, whether I was a hobo and I can now at least hold my head up and be a decent provider for my family, you will have people that you thought were your friends that turn their back on you, or lie about you, or are jealous of you. And Tim would have been the happiest guy on the planet to see what unfolded here. And for him to have a life that he was the reason, you just like, man, damn, he had such an impact. You like, and the thing is too, it wasn't like a lot of people thought that he was kind of different, but like, he was so hilarious, dude. Like we made a deal, like if we would pay for lunch if he would go get it at Toots, or if we'd go get it at Chili's or whatever. But dude, we would call Toots and we would place our order, and then they would ask for a name, and then we'd be like, Terry Bradshaw. And they'd be like, okay, because the girl didn't know who the fuck Terry Bradshaw is. So that dude would go rolling up in there in his Terry Bradshaw jersey or whatever to pick up. He'd be like, I got an order for Terry Bradshaw. And dude, he didn't care. He was cool with it. Like, we go to Chili's and we tell him it's Brett, like he'd have a Brett Favre jersey. He loved the Titans too. Mariota, Antonio Brown. I mean, he just was a Steeler and Titans nut. But he was cool. He could laugh at himself. He could roll with us, and we just had a blast. We would belly laugh. Like, we'd call up just like we were 16-year-old kids. They'd be like, who's the order for? And we'd be like fucking Ezekiel Elliott. And he would roll in, man. Or whatever me and Robbie thought of, he'd be cool with it. He was a good dude. The other thing that he taught me was he wore what he wanted. He had the courage to be himself. And before I met Tim, I didn't. I would never be doing this video. I would never open up my heart to a bunch, whenever you open up your heart, man, 20% of people are going to respect you for it. Like 60% are going to be indifferent. And there's going to be 20% that are mocking you behind your back, man. And Tim was cool with that. Tim, if he wanted to wear a Stonewash jean jacket and a motherfucking, Opryland shirt day after day, he would, man. He didn't give a shit. And he taught me. Before that, I cared. Now, man, I don't. I mean, I'll wear whatever the fuck I want to wear. I'll hop on here and pour my heart out to you guys. And like I said, that wasn't at the time. But looking back, when I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking about him or what he's done, I remember the way he was. And I'm like, man, yeah, I'm going to be like that. And he was just legit. Like I said, man, if it hadn't have been for him, I wouldn't have the guts to say this. I just wouldn't, man. I'd be worried about that bottom 20. Again, he always showed up. He didn't meet one person he didn't like. He would always give to others. Like, he would meet someone at the show that he's never seen before. And he would see a little kid and they'd be like, well, I like Razor Ramon. just conversation at the store or at the show. Man, he would bring that kid the next show. Hey, have you seen that kid? I got some Razor Ramon cards. Like, to be that empathetic and kind, to go home, dig through your cards, find them, it's just a rare breed. And that's one of the things that all of us respected him that truly knew him. There was a lot of people that didn't know him. They thought they knew him, but, they didn't. He, like I told you earlier, he would meet me at the shows at 5:30 every Saturday. He would have loved you guys. He had such a passion for wrestling and country music. It was infectious. And I think he would have seeped into you guys. You guys would have loved him. I mean, it's hard to explain, but, the one thing that I do know is he without a doubt, 100%, he probably more than anybody in my life, he changed my life. And it's because of those things that I mentioned that, he doesn't only deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, man. He deserves to be the fucking godfather of the Hall of Fame here, because, he really is. It was one of those things that it was tough. Like, too, when he passed away, man, it was tough on me and it was tough on Robbie because, it was just kind of a hole. You went from having this dude that just brought a lot of happiness to you, and it's gone. And it's just out of, just suddenly, and you're just like, damn. And I find it interesting that I've never had anything like this ever happen in all my 3 years of being open or whatever it is. But a dude comes in one day, and I'm like, I look at the cards, and I know they're Tim's cards. I'm like, hey, man, where'd you get these? He's like, man, there was a guy that passed away, and his family was throwing them in the dump, and, I was able to get some of them. And I'm like, are you serious? So I tell him what I'm telling you, and he's like, man, you're not going to believe this. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I kept a lot of his pictures and things. There were pictures in there. He's like, I'm going to bring these in here to you, man. I just want you to have them. And I'm like, man, are you sure you have them? He's like, yeah, dude. So literally it was a while after, man. There was a hole around here. And it bothered me. It bothered Robbie, dude. But all of a sudden, this dude rolls in and just gives us picture after picture of Tim that he had dug. It's his life. Like, he writes on the back, Opryland 95, Way Out West Show, Jill Gruby. He loved that chick. There was like 20 or 30 of them in there. But we have this, me and Robbie have this, man, to just see what he was passionate about. We have another book here. But I don't really feel like that was a fluke, man. I always am going to believe, I believe two things. I believe, like these two gigantic binders, I believe that somehow there was a higher power, whether it be Tim or someone else, that knew we needed that around here because we were missing him. And I believe there's no explanation for the rise of Grand Slam Nation. It's just not explainable. And I believe personally, it's him watching over us and he's riding or dying with us up there. I just believe that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just a luck, or maybe it's hard work, or maybe it's you guys. I don't know. But I believe that Tim's up there riding or dying for us, and he's just, dude, he's somebody that I'll probably never forget unless I get Alzheimer's or something. He's a legit dude, man. The only regret is that he's not here physically to reap some of the benefits, to enjoy some of the seeds he planted, because, man, that dude, we'd probably have a Godfather chair back there, leather. We'd probably have Carrie Underwood fucking singing, fucking tunes for him, whatever, man. It'd have been whatever old Timmy Wallace wanted. So if there's anybody out there, man, like we talked, I don't know how long I was on here. It's probably too long, but really and truly, it's never too long for Big Tim. If you got somebody out there in your life that's like that, that's had an impact, my advice, I think you need to let him know, man, because I probably never let him know. He knew that we cared. Like, he definitely knew that. The other thing, too, was one other story I was going to tell y'all, man, is, man, I love wearing Nikes that are colors. Like, I like wearing a blue shirt and blue Nikes. I don't know why. I wear whatever the fuck I want. Dude, Tim started doing that. And man, that was the best compliment on the planet, dude. He would rock. I mean, he would go to the Nike outlet and buy every fucking color, bro. And he would rock them. Like if he had a Carrie Underwood t-shirt that was black, he'd be rocking the black Nikes. I mean, so I know we had an impact on him too. But whenever you have a Tim in your life, man, do me a favor, dude. Let them know. Let them know, man, that they had that impact. Without him, man, we wouldn't be here. I'll have to take it out there, Chris. I'll show you during Dragapalooza. It's out there. I'll take a picture. Maybe I'll take a picture of it for you guys. Anyway, don't want to keep y'all anymore. I want y'all to enjoy Easter with your family. This is the best shot I'm ever going to take. My boy Tim, rest in peace, homie. Man, me and Robbie will be there soon enough, son. Always be dragging, baby. Let's go. He'd have loved the titty tap. He loved those girls at Regional Finance. True story. Ask Robbie. That'll be the toughest one in the Hall of Fame. I'll put the half of fame. I'll fix it. Anyway, always be dragging, fellas. Enjoy your Easter. Enjoy your family. If you're having trouble, hang in there, man. Try to be like motherfucking Tim. Be like Tim. Don't be like me. Don't be like fucking Jordan. Be like Tim. Deuces.